Coraline is a perfect little gem of a horror story. Enchanted doors, doppelgangers, evil stepmothers. It's compact, sinister, artistically mesmerizing, but what's really chilling about it is though it is a modern fairy tale, the meaning that lies beneath the surface is all too real. My name is Rebecca Rose. I'm a voice actor, and a student of storytelling, and the purpose of this channel is to appreciate, create, and understand stories. And today we're going to talk about Coraline. Coraline is a fascinating story, and it's steeped in folklore, mythology, the things that we heard as children that live somewhere in the back of our minds. We're going to talk about fear and what makes Coraline truly so frightening. I never skip a good opening credits scene, and especially in Coraline, it really tells us a lot about the story. You have this kind of weird surgical horror thing that's happening, but I mean, it's just a needle and thread, right? But they're clearly these little dolls of children, and it's so creepy. The button eyes, it just feels wrong, even though you know logically, oh, this is just dolls. But somehow, something with those needle fingers, how she's it's kind of violent, actually, the way she rips things apart and cuts it open, hangs them upside down, fills them with sand. Of course, the more that you watch the story, you're gonna figure out what this all symbolizes. But it's a great beginning to set the stage that something is really wrong here. All right, so we get started here, and it's already foggy and misty and gloomy and dark. The opening, here we have our creepy ghost story house. And Coraline, like I mentioned before, pulls onto all of these things, mythology and folklore, things we heard before, and ghost stories is classic. And a classic trope of ghost stories is a creepy Victorian old house in the middle of nowhere, and it's all spooky and foggy, and you kind of have this unsettled feeling like, ooh, what's gonna go on there? So there's Coraline. And she is the one spot of color in this muted, dusty, dark world. A yellow rain jacket, even though it's not really an official trope, I would say it does symbolize like childlike innocence in the middle of a scary situation. And it just evokes this feeling of, oh, a child and all of this, but you also feel kind of in the back of your head like, something bad gonna happen? The original story, which is a book before the movie, is based in England, and England has so much long history and folklore and fairy tales and these kind of things. So a lot of those symbols and callbacks to those legends and myths show up through this film. And we grow up hearing these things. We grow up knowing these things. Maybe we don't understand the origins entirely, but we're kind of aware of it. So there's almost like a little grain of truth inside, like, oh yeah, this is realistic. Oh yeah, this is something that I heard before. So the fairy circle is another good example of that. In English folklore, the fairy circle, even though it's really just a ring of mushrooms that grow out of the ground, what it meant in legend was that some supernatural being had created this circle, and if a human stepped into it, it either could spell disaster for them or maybe even good luck, but it was known to trap unsuspecting victims, and that gives us a little hint, haha, what might be coming for Coraline.
See?
So listen to what
Supposed to
Wybie
be
says
so
about the well.
deep. If you fell to the bottom and looked up, you see a sky full of stars
You
in the
see a
middle of the
sky
day.
full of stars in the middle of the day.
Huh.
He's foreshadowing a little bit.
Surprised she let you move in. My grandma, she owns the Pink Palace.
Okay, so Wybie's grandma owns this apartment, and she doesn't let families with children move in.
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
There's a haunted house. There's some kind of weird legend behind it. A lot of times with these kind of ghost stories, there's a myth of a missing child or somebody died in the house. It just sets a nice atmosphere. Poor
You and
Coraline.
Dad get paid to write about plants?
They don't even notice her poison ivy.
Fine. I don't have time for you right now. And you still have unpacking to do. Lots of unpacking.
This is just like a fairy tale. Like think about like Alice in Wonderland, right? Or Pan's Labyrinth. These stories where you have a young protagonist who they don't like their real world environments and they daydream and they fall into this mystical other land where all these adventures happen. It's kind of like an echo of that, right? But it's really funny because Coraline really reminds me of myself. When I was a kid, my mom said that I would come home from school and she would always ask me like, oh, how are things at school? And I would tell her all of these fantastical stories like, oh, this happened and then this happened. And I was like some great hero of some event. And she would be like, oh, wow, really? But when she talked to the teachers at parent-teachers conferences, they would be like, no. I really think children like to escape from a dull reality by imagining some other wonderful adventure that you can go on. All right, Coraline's got this weird, creepy doll, right?
Dad,
Wybie delivered it to her for some reason.
Coraline doll?
Man, our dad looks so tired. Why does he look so tired? I myself always hated dolls that looked at you. Didn't you find it creepy? Like if there was a doll sitting somewhere and it was staring at you from across the room, just give me the little, kind of shivers. I think it's a little bit of a subtle fear we have, something watching you. Oh. Ah! Creepy little bugs. Ah! I can't believe she just slaps you with her hands. We are starting to see things that are wrong with this house. It's normal seeing creepy bugs like that. There's something that I read called the bug theory, where somebody had broken down Coraline and all the bugs that are appearing in it and their symbolism. But I do think this is kind of like a, hey, something is wrong here. Look at these weird creepy bugs. And if you also pay close attention to the wallpaper around the door that we're gonna see in a little bit, there are little outlines of bugs in the wall. Kind of like they're ever present, even though a little invisible. Ooh. Okay. She's looking for her little doll. That is so creepy. That's the first thing where you're just like, ugh, that is wrong. Dolls do not move on their own. So there it is, leading the way.
Huh?
And this is how she discovers the little door. Just right for a little kid to crawl through. It is an actual trap. She cuts it open. She's waiting, but then, oh, it's so creepy. The doll's looking. I don't like that. But there's nothing behind there when the mom sees it, of course. This is also very normal in a lot of fairy tales. Parents or adults don't see what children are seeing. There are moments in this film where she'll like turn her head, or she's looking sideways and coming straight up, or where she goes back to bed. And it kind of makes you feel a little disoriented. I'm sure that's done on purpose. It's almost like showing things are turning upside down. Things are not quite right. This film was directed by Henry Selick, and he also famously created another stop motion film, The Nightmare Before Christmas. And Coraline, at the time, it was the biggest stop motion animated film ever. There were over 500 people who worked on it. They created all of these little figurines by hand, and they're really small. I even saw videos of them using like a toothpick to kind of shape things. It's meticulous, detailed work. It's truly a labor of love, and I think this art form is well chosen for a story like this. Because it's stop motion, these little clay figurines, it is like childlike, right? But it also feels close enough to be familiar. Yet something is off. Mice are cute. They're small. They're, unsuspecting. Not dangerous little creatures. There's the doll. Look at the window. Do you see that swirl of fog? Speaking of the book being so much scarier, oh my gosh, I remember when I was reading it late at night, and then I came across the part, I think it's at this part where they are kind of, I don't know, like calling her into the other world, and they sing this little song, and it goes, you gotta listen to this. It's like, we have eyes and we have nerveses. We have tails, we have teeth. You'll get what you deserveses when we rise from underneath. Why? 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 Why would you say that, little mice? Why? But this, I think, too correlates. When you're children, we sing these little songs, these little ditties. They're intrinsically childlike, but a lot of the kids' songs that we sang growing up were actually kind of wrapped around some very horrific meanings. Ring Around the Rosie or London Bridge is Falling Down. A lot of those stories, or Grimm's fairy tale is a great example. We learn these things as kids and we ha 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 play around with it, so cheerful and unknowing what the darker meaning is underneath. So there's like a light that she follows. It's almost like a moth to a flame. And you see outside the window, it's not foggy anymore.
You're not my mother. My mother doesn't have
Buttons? Do you like them? I'm your other mother,
I'm your
silly.
other mother.
Now go tell your other father that supper's ready.
See, she is
Well, go on.
perfect, apparently. Beautiful hair. She looks all awake, no dark bags under her eyes, makeup done. So considerate of Coraline.
Hello?
She is supposed to resemble the kind of mother Coraline would want. Cooking all the delicious things that she wants, giving her full attention. Everything is about Coraline. Even her voice, it's a great bit of voice acting. The voice actor of the other mother is Terry Hatcher, and she has this like sugary sweet quality to her voice,
I'm your other mother, silly.
but underneath there's this dark edge.
Now you're going to stay here forever.
It's a trap. It's a trap, Coraline! So she gives Coraline all this wonderful food. It's like she's plumping her up. It really makes me think about like Hansel and Gretel, right? She was a witch and she would feed children all of these sweets and sugary things, and then she would catch them and put them in her oven.
Well, here comes the gravy train.
Choo choo. I wonder how they filmed that. I bet it's a camera that actually went through the little tunnel. Now look at this cake here. This is an interesting little bit. Welcome home. So there's this thing called graphology. It's, it's an uncertain science, but it's supposedly studying what your handwriting says about yourself, what it tells you about people. So a single loop in an O, like in welcome, means you're telling the truth. A double loop in the O means you're lying about something. So even though she is welcome, she's not actually home, isn't it? Creepy.
And soon as you're through eating, I thought we'd play a game.
Did you see that shine across her button eyes?
You mean like hide and seek?
Perfect. Hide and seek.
In the rain.
You saw the way her hand moved, right? It's very spider-like. And you also see the mother's hand in the lightning bolt.
We love mud here.
So I mentioned before her hand, it kind of looks like a little spider, right? There's the bug theory, and one thing that stood out to me is Coraline's dragonfly pin. So dragonflies in folklore are called the devil's darning needle. There's a couple of variations of it, but one of them is that the dragonfly is used to sew up the mouths of naughty children. And another one says that if you fall asleep by, I think, a river or a stream, that it will be used to sew up your eyes. But another thing about dragonflies is they're also very feisty, and they are quick, and they've got really good eyesight. And occasionally, they do eat spiders, which is their natural predator. Here she is going to bed, tucking her in.
See you soon.
See you soon. Great voice acting. Very nice thing to say, but it's a different tone. It's discordant. And where the mother was sitting, look who's sitting there now. The doll. So I think there's a lot of power in showing stories like where you have children going through very frightening circumstances. Their parents do not believe them. Adults do not see what they're seeing, and children have to get out of it themselves, out of their own courage and their own wits. And sadly, this is something that does happen in the real world. Sometimes as a child, you're not watched over and people do not believe in what you're saying, and you have to stand up for yourself. I think Coraline is a really great heroine for kids and adults alike.
Maybe she should buy all your clothes.
Maybe she should buy all your clothes. It's a little snarky. But
What do you think's in the other apartment?
she's doing what a good mother is trying to do, right? Take care of her daughter, make sure she's dressed, has what she needs.
Then why'd you lock the door?
Oh, I found some rat crap, and I thought you'd feel safer.
This is a big difference between the real mother and the other mother. The real mother, yes, she feels cold, she feels distant. She's probably limited, she's just busy, she doesn't have enough time. But for Coraline, it's not enough. Children want all the attention. The thing about the real mother is she never lies to Coraline. She doesn't trick her or try to manipulate her. She even uses the terms like, oh, I thought it might make you feel safer, as opposed to the other mother who just wants to eat, take. I think that symbolizes abusive parents. As a child, you want somebody who's stable and dependable, and you really rely on that kind of person. You're in their care. And when they flip it on you and you can't escape, it's really scary. And I think the other mother is kind of representing that.
I knew it was real.
I knew it was real. As crazy as this sounds, because I know it's on the other side, I always wish this would happen to me as a child. I wanted to find a secret passageway to another magical world. So the other mother gives her everything she wants. Look at that. Cupcakes, pizza, hot dogs. She must be a good mother.
New outfit I made you. Love.
And she even hand sewed her this beautiful sweater. So do you remember at the very beginning when YB mentions the well? And if you fall into the well, it's so deep, if you look up at the sky, you'd see stars even in the daytime. I think the sweater that Coraline is wearing symbolizes that. She's so deep into the trap, all she's seeing is the stars. In order for a good fantasy to work, you can't just have arbitrary rules. Things have to make sense. Cats, however, are such a funny facet of fantasy. They are tied to spiritual and magical things in many cultures and stories.
For you,
For you.
our little doll.
Our little doll. See, she doesn't even view Coraline as a full being. She's her doll that she can manipulate and do whatever she wants with. Abusive parents or guardians. They feed on their victims. They need them. They want to keep them. And in exchange for their love and all of this care, you got to do something for me. And it is, in this case, the buttons. You have to take out your eyes. Let me sew buttons in your eyes. Then you can continue receiving my love and care.
I'm still here?
I'm still here. Coraline's so brave. This is why she makes such a great heroine, because in the face of fear, she still chooses to fight against the evil mother. So things are starting to fall apart, right? Things that were once somewhat normal are starting to become more grotesque, and it's falling apart and becoming more uncanny. And it happens once Coraline makes a choice to fight back. No, I will not accept this reality that you're creating for me, because this is not real.
How can you walk away from something and still come back to it?
Walk around the world.
Walk around the world.
Small world.
Small world. Now, in the book, when she says small world, the cat responds with, a spider only needs to make a web big enough to catch flies. The world may appear small, and it is actually small, but when you're trapped in it, it can feel like the whole thing. You have to grow and look outside of your immediate circumstances and recognize what's the truth in order to escape this kind of trap.
I'll give you to the count of 3.
Oh man, I get chills. It's so weird.
2, 3!
It's interesting the choice of words that the other mother uses, right? It's not like, oh, you saw past my trap. Instead, she talks like a narcissistic, abusive mom. She's saying like, you need to listen. You need to speak how I want you to speak. Is that any way to talk to your mother? Even though Coraline is correct in standing up against her. This is also classic kid behavior. I also had my knapsack, my outfit, my little tools that I would take with me when I was going out to explore or when I wanted to run away. Something I also find interesting, Spink and Forcible gave her that stone that is also steeped in English folklore. It's called an adder stone. And the adder stone in legend shows that if you look through it, you'll be able to see what's real and what's not.
Everybody likes games.
Uh-huh.
What kind of game would it be?
An exploring game. A finding things game.
And what is it you'd be finding, Coraline?
Call back to the hand
My
with the
real
spider-like
parents.
movement. This is so classic fairy tale, right? The idea of a game. The hero will often strike a deal with the enemy, or make a little game, or play like a little riddle. Think about Rumpelstiltskin, or tricking the witch to look into the oven so that you can push her in. Sometimes it's all you have to rely on, your own courage and your own wits. So clearly now we can see everything is a sham. It's all falling apart. Coraline refused to get the button eyes so that she could still see the truth. Sorry to the other mother. I think Mr. Bobinski, the other Mr. Bobinski,
Is this what you're looking for?
really shows just how everything has fallen apart. You might think you can have whatever you want, but now Coraline can see clearly what that really means. The Beldam's true form has appeared. Ooh, she's so creepy.
So,
Ooh, she's so horrifying the more I look at her.
the ghost eyes.
Freud, interestingly, said that spiders symbolized mothers feeling guilt over devouring their own children, maybe needing too much from them. And also we know spiders will also frequently eat their mates. So it makes a lot of sense that the Beldam would be a kind of spider figure. And spiders are also just weird and creepy. They're weird and creepy. They have too many legs and too many eyes. And sometimes they're hairy and they're just weird. Okay, had to get that out of my system. Yeah, so it makes perfect sense that the Beldam would be a spider. So the idea of the word Beldam, it could come from 2 things I'm thinking. You have Beldam, which is an old English word that means like old hag or witch. And then you have Beldam, which is French for beautiful woman. And I think, what I looked into this could be based on the John Keats poem that he wrote in the 1800s called La Belle Dame sans merci, the beautiful woman without mercy, which is the story of a knight who is lured by this beautiful fairy woman. And then he falls asleep and he's been enchanted and there's some horrible ending to him. And so perhaps it's coming from that as well. Okay, so Coraline has escaped. She ran through the cupboard and she slammed it shut. But listen to what the mother says. Don't leave me. Oh my gosh, it's so scary. Don't leave me, I'll die without you. Not, I'm gonna get you. Or, beware, I'm coming for you. This isn't the end. Those are like typical horror things. This is very like that mother-daughter, fury, scary, narcissistic, abusive, like trapped in the web kind of talk. So it's really nice to see now that Coraline has closed the door to the fake world. She's here in the real world, and it's starting to become more colorful and alive.
Miss Forcible?
Oh, look, April. Pink ladies.
Actually, it's just lemonade.
And it comes out of Coraline's choice to live in the real world, to face what's actually in front of her and then make something good of it. You have to find joy and brightness in the real world. Don't get lost daydreaming to escape what's in front of you. And here we go, going back to where we started, but now it's a lot brighter. Now it's a lot livelier because Coraline has made the choice to live in the real world. But it wouldn't be a true fairy tale without this nice magical ribbon on the end. The ultimate point of Coraline is not to frighten you or to show you horrifying things, but it's really there to show you true courage. True courage is being brave in the face of very frightful things. It doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means being braver than the scary thing itself. And that is a good lesson for all of us to take as children, as adults, when we're facing things in our minds or in very real life. So while it is a scary story, it ends the way we like our fairy tales to go, right? They learned their lesson and lived happily ever after. Let me know in the comments what you thought and what scared you about Coraline. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel. If you want to see more videos doing more breakdowns of other movies, watch this one next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!